What if your biggest obstacle to healing from childhood trauma is all of the people in your life that want to keep you true to form, that are comfortable and familiar with this role that you've played in their lives throughout your entire life? And now you're trying to up and leave and create this new identity for yourself that is actually drastically different from that true to form role that you've played your entire life for them. And now this is the biggest obstacle because they're coming at you with all of this. Oh, you've changed. What happened to the person that I've known this entire time? This, that, and the other. First and foremost, you don't owe them or anybody else shit. That's the reality of it. They don't want to face that because they lack healthy boundaries. They lack the capacity to see that you are actually not, in fact, a fucking narcissistic extension of them to caretake whatever they believe you are there to caretake for them. Believe it or not, there is actual backlash that comes with healing from childhood trauma. And of course, there are boundaries, right? You can just completely mute the fuck out of people. You can, you know, fuck off, fuck this, that, and the other, right? Use your fucking magic wand and just tell people to fuck off. That is totally legit, right? Um, some people have a more challenging time with it, right? And they might feel guilty. They might feel shameful for what they're doing, right? For their intention to heal and to create a conscious, healthy identity and personality for themselves, right? That's a very real thing. Let me make this very clear. When a person is healing from childhood trauma, right, they're stepping away from the comfortable and familiar keyword there, familiar, which is also rooted in familial, which is rooted in family, right? They are consciously moving away from this true to form role that they've been playing their entire lives, that quite frankly, until they awaken from it, they won't realize what it is that they're actually doing. And when they do start to awaken from it is where the backlash starts to come into play, because they were just in survival. That true to form role was just a survival mechanism. They learned that this was the mask, or these were the masks that they had to wear in order to be loved, in order to gain validation, approval, attention. Like, let me make this very clear. One of the most important things that you can do for a child is to be emotionally present with them. It's going to help them feel real. And that's an understatement, right? Like, it is possible for a child to not receive emotional attention, which is the opposite of that is emotional neglect, and to end up like literally having serious personality issues, even personality disorders, because they don't feel real. When they don't get the mirroring, the healthy and necessary mirroring in childhood, they're not going to feel like they exist. Later on in life, they very well may question if they're even real. And of course, again, this gets into personality disorders, this, that, and the other, fragmented personalities, right? You wonder who the fuck you are, or even if you're real, right? But that's a whole different sector. Um, the very reality of this is that a lot of people throughout their entire lives, starting very early on in survival, they learned true to form roles that they were expected to play in childhood for survival, right? And now they're looking at the entire scenario and they're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like it. I never did. And I'm now starting to realize how much it has corrupted me and my relationships. All of this fabric that I'm now realizing is just not authentic, and I don't like it, and I don't want to work with it. I don't like the blueprint. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like what it brings me. You're waking up and you're realizing that you want to change. And so then comes the backlash, right? Because everyone in your life is, what the fuck? And you're like, I don't owe you shit. Because you don't. You don't have any obligations towards anybody. It doesn't matter who tries to convince you that They gave birth to, I mean, obviously somebody gave birth to you, but even that person, you don't owe that person anything. You don't. You didn't ask to be born. Cool that you're here. Cool that you have a life. That's great. That's fantastic. Right? But whatever backlash that comes, backlash for what? Are you not your own autonomous individual that can make your own mature, conscious decisions for yourself? Are you not? I mean, like, full honesty, let's look at this for what the fuck it actually is. Do you owe anybody anything other than the IRS with taxes? What actual obligation do you have in anybody's life? Right? That's the most important thing to look at here. Because usually the backlash that comes with healing from childhood trauma has to do with the true to form role that people who are comfortable and familiar with the role that you've played in their lives your entire life, starting from a very early age, feel like you have something that you owe them. What's in your pockets? What do you owe them? What's in your wallet? What do you owe? I'm just kidding. Really though, like, you don't owe them shit. You don't. And they might try to get you to believe that you do owe them something. You don't. Right? Some people have a very hard time setting boundaries with people. And when they try to set boundaries with people, the people that they try to set boundaries with, they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you putting up these walls to keep us out of your life? We don't like this shit. We don't." Because you're expected to play this true to form role. And by the way, let me make it very clear that even while healing, some people get caught up in feeling ashamed of themselves for setting boundaries with the people in their life. Because, listen, I was this like emotional. I'm not speaking from. I'm using an example when I say this. Some people learned to be emotional caretakers for a single person or multiple people in their lives, right? And that became the true to form role of comfort and familiarity that was like the only way in survival to gain any level of attention or love or validation, approval, right? They may have actually learned to tie their self worth to that specific role, right? And they've played it out their entire lives. They've learned that that's what they have to do in order to receive love. So they carry that into adulthood. What does it do? Completely fucks up their relationships because it is a boundaryless dynamic, right? Imagine you end up being an external regulator for somebody's fucked up nervous system. It's not your job, but you learned that that's what you needed to do in survival to gain love, validation, and approval. So you did that. Now you're seeing it for what it is, and you're realizing, wait a second, it's not my job to jeopardize and sacrifice my nervous system for somebody else's mental and emotional well-being. Fuck that. I'll pass. I'll pass. Let me take care of my nervous system. Let me do the work to heal that and to bring that back to baseline so that I don't feel like fucking shit every single day. Let me actually put myself first. Wait a second. What are you doing? You can't do that. You're supposed to get over here and be my regulator. Stay true to form. That's the backlash. The backlash to childhood healing is the people that have been comfortable and familiar with the fucked up and boundaryless dynamic that you have offered and presented them simply because you were in survival in an unhealthy childhood and now you're ready to up and leave because you don't want to keep playing that anymore. Who the fuck would? Right? If you can drive a fucking Rari, why would you continue driving a Civic? Don't get me wrong, I love Hondas. Hondas and Toyotas are actually like my favorite cars. Um, but the metaphor really has to do with speed. If you can go faster, why wouldn't you? If you can drive a fucking Ferrari, if you can drive a fucking Lambo, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go with speed? If you can have better experiences in life, if you can have better relationships in life, why the fuck wouldn't you? Right? It makes sense. And then there are all these people that want to keep you true to form, that want to get you to believe that the Honda is the best fucking car for you to drive and that it's not actually possible for you to go faster when it actually quite possibly is possible. So many possibles, so many possibilities, so many potentials, so many different directions outside of this true to form role. right? They want to get you to believe that this four-cylinder slow ass, not all Hondas are slow, believe me. There's a lot of Hondas out there and Toyotas. In fact, a Toyota Supra, I remember that car. I think I saw that first in Fast and the Furious or whatever it was. um, there are some Hondas out there that are fast to sell, but there are some other cars out there that are even faster, right? So the reality of the matter is that I'm using these metaphors to show that people in your life that want you to stay true to form, they're probably going to stop you from seeing that there is better out there for you, because if you were to see that there was better out there for you, you wouldn't stay. So they manipulate you, they gaslight. I've been there, by the way. I've been manipulated, gaslighted by people, no names. But they want you to stay because they know that the second that you discover that there's something better and faster out there for you, and I'm talking specifically as who you are, personality, right? They want you to stay true to form because it benefits them, right? They know that if you know that you could do better for yourself, and of course you would, then you would up and leave, and you wouldn't be the true to form role that they're comfortable and familiar with anymore. You would choose the Rari or the Lambo instead of the Toyota or the Honda because it's got speed, right? When you heal, everything changes. And that's what they're afraid of.